Back here, 615 Sessions podcast on the A to Z Sports podcast feed. Two new faces, both of whom have already annoyed me before the podcast started rolling. It's Will Boling of 104.5 The Zone and Lucas Panzica, also of 104.5 The Zone. Lucas, explain yourself.
Well, my computer does this really fun thing where it just dies even though it's plugged in and charging. And on top of that, it's just been really slow. And it's only 4 years old. So I feel like these are not problems I should be having. So I need to take it to the computer doctor. It wasn't connecting to Zoom, so I just pulled it up on my phone. Hope everything sounds okay.
It sounds great, but your computer shit its pants the way that LSU baseball did over the weekend. William, hello.
Hello, Buck. Great to see you. Thank you for the invite on the podcast. This is a very big day. First time.
This is true. So if it's Will Boling and Lucas's first day on the podcast, you know that it has to be a special occasion because the entire state has been taken over by college baseball in a way that I did not anticipate talking about for nearly 3 hours today, but it was something that was fantastic to watch over the weekend. Certainly between Vandy advancing over East Carolina and now the Vols as well heading to Omaha as we tape this podcast on a Monday yesterday after just clubbing LSU. So I think the thing that we should start with, boys, is Lucas and I have already had a discussion about this for basically 3 hours today. So I was thinking, sitting in my house, I was trying to think of, unique ways that we could really approach this topic. And I think Will brought up a good angle right at the end of the radio show about why why the Vols are not in as bad a position as people might think heading to TD Ameritrade Park, and why Vandy might necessarily not have the advantage that they do. Will, you want to lay that theory out for the people?
Yeah, I honestly think that if Vanderbilt gets to the College World Series championship round, they're going to win the national championship. The way their front two pitchers match up with everyone else in college baseball, maybe everyone else since a 2011 team in UCLA, who was the last team to have two top 10 picks on the same pitching rotation. Other than everybody else in college baseball, Vandy's 1 and 2 are the best two pitchers in college baseball this season. After that, there's quite a big drop-off. Obviously, there's going to be a big drop-off when you have two guys that are as talented as Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. Tennessee is deeper out of the bullpen and deeper in their pitching rotation than Vanderbilt is. There isn't as big of a drop-off between Blade Tidwell and Will Heflin as there is between Jack Leiter and the next man up for Vanderbilt. I think this team fits weekend rotation style of baseball better than they fit postseason tournament style of baseball, which was evident in the SEC tournament when Ole Miss, when they weren't able to have Rocker or Leiter on the mound, Ole Miss knocked them out of the SEC tournament before the semifinal round. I think this Vanderbilt team, if they make it all the way, is going to win it all. The big question is, can they make it? And I don't know if they can.
Lucas, you told me to put my checkerboard overalls on this weekend, and I did, and they won, so you're welcome. All of you Vols fans, of which I have now declared myself one of. We came to that decision between 10-1 today on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome, he says. But the pitching for the Vols is something that you pointed out is something that I think largely in a broader conversation about these two teams, I think the general conversation around them, the general consensus by people who are watching them and who are, listening to bits and pieces of our discussion or 3HL's discussion or everybody else who's talking about these two teams. And they're kind of taking away, okay, Vandy is the pitching, the Vols have the bats. But that's something that you kind of dispelled a little bit today with the strength of the pitching of the Vols and how critical it's been to this series.
It's just been so much deeper. You look at a guy in Camden.
Are you Lucas?
Sewell.
What the hell is that?
Wait, I thought you said Will.
Did I say Will?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not.
No, that's not true. Will, shut the hell
up. My point.
Lucas.
You go ahead. I'm fine.
Lucas, did I say Will? Oh my God, his Wi-Fi is going again. I'm going to kill you both. I really am.
No.
Did I say Will or did I say Lucas? Is this something that I'm fraying?
You're saying this was my point, so I thought you were directing it at me. That's fine. I don't care.
I don't know that you said either.
I was surprised you were directing something at me because I was like, I want Lucas to talk, but Lucas, go ahead.
I thought you two had done this enough to where you could figure out that the rhythm of the conversation. You two have worked together enough. I'm a point guard right now. I'm trying to distribute. Will, quit being a ball hog.
What was even the question?
I don't remember. Damn it. What?
Dispelling
tell me about the
fact
Vols
that,
pitching, Lucas. Tell me about the Vols.
Oh, so we were talking about this today. Vanderbilt with the best 1-2 punch in the SEC. Like Tennessee with the best 1-2-3 punch it's had in a very, very long time. It's very primed for example, a 3-game series. Like going into the LSU weekend, it was going to be Chad Dallas starting day 1, Blade Tidwell starting day 2, Will Heflin starting day 3. And that's not even including a Sean Hunley or a Redmond Walsh. And Tennessee, remember, Will, correct me if I'm wrong, Tennessee's ace was out for the season really before it started in Jackson Leaf. So this pitching staff was already incredibly deep going into the season. So I do think it's a little bit overlooked. They had the best ERA in the SEC for the entirety of the regular season. And honestly, this Tennessee team makes me think of that 2019 Vandy team that won it all, because you have the pitching. Kumar Rocker really emerged that season as a freshman, but that Vanderbilt lineup, there were no breaks. I mean, I think they had 7 batters in that lineup with averages of 300 plus in that season. Reminds me of this Tennessee lineup. Absolutely no breaks. 2 players with 15 or more home runs on the season. So I think Tennessee might be actually the more well-balanced unit going into the College World Series. It's just everybody is drawn to that rocker-lighter duo, and rightfully so at Vanderbilt. But this conversation just gets jacked up with Arkansas being out of the picture because suddenly everybody's eyes get wide, say, okay, the door is open.
I was about to say, who benefits from that more, Will? Vandy or the Vols having Arkansas not in the middle of this thing? Because now we know Vandy will play Arizona. The results, actually, I turned off the college baseball, and I shouldn't have, because who won Virginia Dallas Baptist?
Virginia.
Okay, so Virginia.
Yeah, they rallied.
Will take place in the first round of the College World Series. Who benefits more from the lack of Arkansas in this tournament?
I think it's got to be Tennessee, because Arkansas is a team that really, you look at both sides of this bracket. Vanderbilt's got to worry about Arizona before they can worry about who's there in the second round, because Arizona just beat Ole Miss 16-3 on Sunday afternoon, an Ole Miss team that had given Vanderbilt fits all season. Ole Miss beat Vandy and Oxford. They also knocked them out of the SEC tournament before they could get to the semifinal round. And Arizona is one of the top hitting teams in all of college baseball. So I think Vanderbilt is more concerned about that 4-5 matchup in the first round. Tennessee, on the other hand, is going to get an unseeded team in Virginia in its first game. So I think they're more focused on, look, Arkansas is the team that had their number throughout the regular season and the postseason. Not having TCU in the bottom of that bracket, just really having to deal with Texas. I think Tennessee sets up really well to go up against somebody not named Arkansas or really not named Vandy in the top of that bracket.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one hump Tennessee wasn't able to get over, right, throughout the season. How many matchups did they have with Arkansas? Suppose they lost that series 2 out of 3 and then lost in the SEC championship. That game wasn't really close with Cops coming in relief. He gave up an early homer, I believe, to Pete Durkee, and then really just shut Tennessee down for the remainder of that SEC championship game. That's by far been the biggest surprise of this college baseball postseason. But everybody benefits from it, right? Like, it's not just Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Tennessee, just because of their history with Arkansas throughout the regular season. But I think every single contender going into the College World Series, like I said before, eyebrows raised, eyes wide, say, okay, the door is open here. Let's go and take it.
Will is smiling at me because I just had to do like a NASCAR style pitch.
No, I wasn't. That was not at you. That was just because Lucas's internet is lacking and he's becoming a robot.
Damn it. I thought we'd pulled that off so cleanly. I'm like,
I thought so too.
Somebody read my text so I could go grab my laptop charger real quick and the internet shits itself in the middle of the podcast. Buddy, I'm trying. I invite you on the podcast. I throw you a bone. Now his video's gone away. This is an unmitigated disaster. Why is this happening?
This is ridiculous. This is Xfinity at its finest. I will write a very strongly worded email.
Hey, so help me God, if you lose me in an Xfinity
I was about to
sponsorship
say.
on this podcast because you can't figure it out, there's gonna be some kind of punishment. I haven't figured
Bleep that out. Bleep that out. I'll send you like the bleep sound effect that I use whenever we have videos laced with profanity on the radio show. And
Whenever Will Compton and Darren Bates are on, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Well, in that instance, at least we got the dump button fixed so that now we can have that and Lucas can't, just completely be
That's
panicked.
what led to the dump button being fixed, quite literally.
Honestly, chestnut checkers move by you. Well done.
That's how I enact change, is I just run into the wall as many times as humanly possible and so have somebody have somebody tell me that I just can't do it anymore. And so they put in the safeguards to keep me in check. That's how we get business done.
Red button that looks like it would send off a nuke somewhere to dump whatever profanity comes across our airwaves.
That's exactly right. I have the codes. I am the captain now, boys.
I am the captain now. Yeah, you beat me to it.
So from Tennessee baseball and Vandy in Omaha. Well, I guess here's the thing, because you both are creatures of the internet like myself. You have come up in sports media a similar way, even though you have different aspirations. Why the hell is it so poisonous between Vandy fans and the Vols fans? Because it is, I understand that there is always going to be this back and forth nature of a big brother, little brother, in-state rivalry. And you can, whether you're a Vandy fan or you're a Vol fan, you can figure out who is big brother and who is little brother in this particular situation. But they're losing their minds. There was an ongoing argument, I swear to God, of 45 tweets from one person, one Vols fan, just screaming at all of Vanderbilt baseball and everything that they stand for. And it's the only time I see any kind of engagement out of Vandy baseball fans, because they're too, I don't know what the hell they're doing. And I understand, maybe they have bigger aspirations than talking about their sports teams. Maybe that is indeed so. But today I was shocked by the lack of engagement that we saw from Vandy fans when we gave them the opportunity. We said, hey, sell me on your team. Maybe you shouldn't have to. Maybe that's their argument. But it's all in all, it's just they go away quietly until you say one thing that bothers them, and then they all come rushing at your neck in a way that is ridiculous. Because if they had any kind of passion about the rest of their sports programs, the way that they had about bitching about people talking about their sports programs, maybe we wouldn't be calling Vandy little brother all the time.
There are two things that make the Vandy. I'll say this real quick, and Lucas, I don't want to talk over you again. I feel bad. There are two things that make Vandy fan on Twitter really pissed. UT being good and talking about how bad the Whistler is. It drives them nuts on Twitter because it overshadows what really should be a dominant powerhouse program.
The Whistler thing is, talk to anybody that's ever watched a Vanderbilt baseball game that's not a Vanderbilt fan, and they will agree with you about the Whistler. It's cool if that's their thing and they want to stand by. There's a lot of Vandy fans that hate the Whistler. But I think, to me, anybody that drives away the neutral viewer from your game in a niche sport should be something that's looked down upon, in my opinion. If Tennessee had a Tennessee Whistler, I would be annoyed. It would annoy the hell out of me every single game. I wouldn't be able to stand it. But that's besides the point. Look, if Vandy was not good at baseball, which was the case before Tim Corbin arrived on campus, they wouldn't care about baseball. Mike Wilson said this on our show, Buck, nobody cares about niche sports until you're good at niche sports. And it's weird to call baseball a niche sport, but in the college scheme of things, it is. Right. So that's why the whole thing about it is dumb. Now Tennessee fans care about baseball. It's yeah, Tennessee fans are showing up because they're good. If Vanderbilt wasn't good, nobody would give a damn. And Tennessee itself is already this big cultural wave that people grow up into. And there's substantially more Tennessee fans than there are Vanderbilt fans. So, and that's just a fact. But when they get really good at something, then they'll latch onto it, and that's okay. But, don't go at fans for getting into a sport because their team is suddenly good at it, when that is what happens with college baseball across the country, with the exception of an LSU that's just always good all the time. It's just how it works.
Well, and two, this notion that Tennessee just got good at baseball forever is wrong. Growing up watching Luke Hochevar and watching, Todd Helton when I was a little bit younger, R.A. Dickey, Julio Bourbon, Tennessee was not quite to a Vanderbilt level from about 1995 to 2005, but Tennessee was really good at baseball. I think a lot of fans are getting back into Tennessee baseball versus just now becoming Tennessee baseball fans. This fandom has always existed. It's just been put on the back burner a little bit as they kind of wandered through the dark ages of Todd Raleigh and of Dave Serrano, and at the end of the Delmonico era in the mid-2000s. Tennessee's always had baseball fans. Now you're starting to get the Tennessee football first fan that's starting to buy in, similar to what they did in basketball. Guys, there's still a lot of Tennessee fans that would much rather just make the Outback Bowl than win the SEC tournament in basketball. That guy still exists. That guy is the difference between Tennessee baseball fandom pre Tony Vitello and now, because now that guy's interested.
That guy. I love that guy conversations. By the way, I can't wait till we post this podcast on YouTube for people to see me having to get up and plug my charger in and Lucas swatting furiously at his cat. What the hell is happening in your apartment right now?
Leo knows every time I'm on the air, he always does something that makes me get up to make him stop. And that trend is continuing.
Jesus Christ, what a disaster this has been so far. And we're only 20 minutes in, boys. We're going to keep it on a hot streak. I want to, you guys, I'm not just going to pigeonhole you as Tennessee baseball, in this case, analysts at this point, although I do appreciate the insights of both of you because you both clearly care. You both have clearly followed this program historically. And I think that's good for people who are just, there's a lot of people who are just now gravitating towards Tennessee baseball, whether they were along for the ride throughout the course of their regular season, which was hugely impressive, or now just getting in on the postseason fun because it looks like a party in Knoxville. And for all intents and purposes, it is. But I don't think that we should pigeonhole you that way. So what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about John Robinson on a pontoon boat, putting it on Instagram like he's leaning full troll into this, or he's waiting for more, he's waiting for more Good Morning Football hits where he can have himself praised in whatever cafe in Pinewood, Tennessee he's eating at? Or do you want to talk about Derrick Henry not going to be on the cover of Madden?
Will?
I mean, look, from a Titans fan perspective, I love, if I'm, putting on that hat, I love that Derrick Henry's not on the cover of Madden. I don't want that evil.
Oh, that's stupid.
Don't you put that evil on me. Brian and I were just having this conversation in the Zone building like earlier today that, I don't want that evil. I don't know. I'm more like the fact that the Madden cover is the biggest thing about Madden now annoys me, because maybe they should just focus on having like a playable video game. Me, video game guy, chiming in here. Like, have a playable game that's fun. It doesn't suck, versus like spending all this money on a hype video for your promo athlete when no one even buys covers anymore. Like, why is this a thing? Like, no one buys physical video games ever. You just download them digitally. So I don't even know why this is still like a conversation. But
a lot of guys making appearances on this podcast. We've had video game guy. We've had Tennessee football fan guy that doesn't care about other sports.
Hey, I am video game guy. That's different. I'm claiming it. This is not some abstract like person in the world. Like, I'm claiming that is me. Yeah,
I haven't played Madden in years. So I don't give a damn about the Madden cover, whether he's on it or not. If he is, I guess Vince Young was the only Titan. I might be wrong, but I think Vince Young's the only Titan to ever have an appearance on a Madden cover. To me, that doesn't matter one way or another. But the John Robinson thing, I like that he's leaning into that. And then he also called, what was the restaurant he was at? Pinewood Kitchen. The historic Pinewood Kitchen, where the Julio Jones deal officially went down. I want him to put up a historical marker and everything. Especially if things work out with Julio Jones and he goes to a couple Pro Bowls during his time in Nashville. I'd love to see them lean into that.
Okay, so we're in consensus. John Robinson's being a bit of an attention whore at this point, yes?
I think he was like Kermit the Frog sipping tea, looking at people's tweets when he was drafting Monty Rice in the 3rd round, saying, all right, cool. I'm gonna milk this now when something positive happens.
That's unbelievable. This man is a very, very, doesn't pay attention to social media until it's time to post a picture of him on the phone on a boat. And now it's all out there for all of the world's likes and all of the clicks. This is incredible. Honestly, I respect the behavior because I recognize it. This is something that I would do.
This man is definitely on social media though, right? Like he facetiously said on J. Martin Ramon that he's on Twitter, but like what is John Robinson's burner account?
I'm sure the Titans probably follow it, whatever it is.
He doesn't have a burner. He's straight up on Twitter. Like, this man is out here in these streets. He's not hiding the fact that he's got his Twitter account, his Twitter handle. Maybe he has a burner, but he's got the real one as well. And he's out here trolling the depths of the internet. See what kind of shit we're talking, like calling him an attention whore on this podcast.
My roommate doesn't have a Twitter account. It just goes on twitter.com. and just start scrolling, and then he'll like send me more tweets than like I'll see. I'm like, Mitch, like, buddy, like, you don't have a Twitter. How are you seeing this before?
I don't, that makes me uncomfortable for some reason. I don't like that. Like, why doesn't he just make a damn account?
I don't know.
No, that's the behavior of a sociopath. That's worse.
I'll pass that along.
No, you should. Please do, because that's like an athlete that name searches themselves after games to see what kind of shit fans are saying to them. You know it's going to be poisonous. You know it's going to be something that just eats away at you. And you should spend less time doing it, Darius Leonard. So if I want to talk shit like a coward from behind my Twitter handle, I can do it without fear of repercussions.
But
Even
if you were
worse,
an athlete, would you have the similar behavior, Buck?
What? Look, name searching myself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but it would be for purely vanity reasons. Like I would mute all of the bad words in association with my name, and then I would just name search my name, and then I would see all the nice
Have
things.
you done that? Have you done that? Because I have seen some bad words associated with your name in your mentions, which I spend time in from time to time.
How
dark
often,
place.
by the way, how often are you like just cruising through my Twitter? Because for people who don't listen to the radio show, Lucas, remember we have to reset this as a different audience for whatever reason.
Yes.
But you poison this one
Yes.
the way that you do between 10 and 1 on 104.5 The Zone. How often are you spending in my Twitter mentions like outside the confines of work? Because Lucas is responsible basically for operating my Twitter from 9:30 until about 12:45 Monday through Friday. And every once in a while, you'll say to me something that I have just recently read, but it's on my personal phone. You want to talk about things that weird you out, like Will's roommate searching on twitter.com. That is something that is weird to me. How often do you do it?
I promise you, it is only between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. I have no interest in spending any time in your mentions outside of those hours of the day. I having control of your Twitter, I do not envy you. I'll go to your account real quick and it'll be like, 35 plus notifications. And when I had just checked it about 10 minutes ago, posting a poll or checking a poll result or something. And I don't envy that. I'm to the point now where if I open my phone and I have 9, 10 or 11 notifications, like, oh God, all right, what now? Because usually you were tagged in something. There's a giant thread that you have no interest in reading and you're not even a part of the conversation at that point. That happens to you so much where people just tweet something at you and just involve you. And then it just creates this giant thread of a discussion between people that you don't know, that you are not involved in. And it takes up 90% of your mentions. That seems awful. That's just so much clutter and junk that I do not want any part of. So no, I like to take a break from that when I'm not on the radio airwaves. I do not want to go snooping around in your mentions, much less in your DMs. I don't know what goes on in there.
I mean, I told you, it's just unsolicited dick pics, except now it's Dick Nixon, it's Dick Trickle, it's Dick Buttkiss. Like I have somebody who's just straight up sending me pictures of men named Dick.
So I know you're getting men named Dick, but have you gotten any actual dicks? Like I know you got that, you had a lead to a potential Isaiah Wilson dick pic, but have you just opened your DMs to just a giant hog staring you right in the face?
Not on Twitter, but on Instagram. Apparently the world is more comfortable with male genitalia. So I have, in fact, in my life gotten 3 actual dicks.
Okay. And what was
pretty
the purpose?
ballsy move.
Yeah, what was the purpose? Was it just to get stuff? Was it just to troll you, or was it to invite you to something? Like, what was the purpose of it? Was it to try to you to reciprocate and send one back? Like, what was the dynamic here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Love it. Here. Okay.
Yes, to all of it.
To follow up on the twitter.com thing too, the worst was my ex-girlfriend who would Google Will Boling Twitter just to like see, because she also didn't have an account, just to see what I was like saying. So she would like know like what conversations to have with me. That was,
what conversations to have.
Literally, she'd be like, so like the Braves looked good, like whatever. Like she would like try to contribute into like sports conversations. And I'd just be like, look, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is the most efficient way to achieve your end goal here.
Okay. Your end goal.
That's like something my mother would do to figure out what I'm
She would literally Google Will Boling Twitter.
God, how lacking in passion and in other things in life must your conversations have been to where they are. She's looking up Braves commentary with which to carry on.
It wasn't really that. It was just like, I don't know,
but that's what it sounds like to me.
She was like, I need to know. I like going into a conversation. I need to gauge your mood before we start talking and know how the Braves did in like the postseason. It was in the playoffs when that specific example happened. That's legit.
Dara just doesn't give a fuck. She just does not does
I
not care about
respect
anything
that.
sports except Coach Mack, because Coach Mack is her fucking Twitter banner.
He's a king.
He is a king, and he is probably going to steal my girl at some point. But this is, Lucas, this is the place that we find ourselves in. So no, what do you mean that you don't want those kind of Twitter mentions? Like, you two are the biggest clout chasers out here, rightfully so. You should be at this point in your various careers. But if you want to sit in the big chair, that's what comes with it. What's wrong with why are you so soft? Why are you so mentally soft?
First of all, there's a difference between clout chasing and just wanting to advance in your career. I think there's certainly some blurred lines there. There are some blurred lines, but I my goal is not to have like 100,000 Twitter followers. My goal is to achieve the career goals I have set in front of me. And if the followers come, then so be it. But come on, out of the three of us, who is the biggest clout chaser? How much clout did you have to chase, Buck? How much clout do you continuously chase every day in your position that you are in now?
All of it.
All the clout.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what the answer is? Yes.
Yeah, it comes. I understand it comes at a price with the mentions, but I don't know. I don't know if that's a price I'm willing to pay yet. But I will continue to plug along in the zone and do what I'm asked to do, and see what happens as my mentions continue to blow up. I just hope it never gets to your level.
I used to be a clout chaser in college, and I grew out of it to an extent because it annoyed me. I annoyed me. Like, I wouldn't like myself in college when I started writing about UT because I was chasing too much clout. There's a fine line.
So what is this fine line? What is the fine line between clout chasing and inciting? Because I see Will Boling doing plenty of inciting on Twitter with the way that he attacks various fan bases. Now, it may be logical, it may be reasonable, the way that you're going about it, but I still, I recognize the behavior. I'm familiar with it.
I used to incite a lot more. Now that's just like, I'm bored and want to watch the world burn a little bit, which I feel like has rubbed off on me from you. So thank you for that, by the way. Self-awareness is the difference between clout chasing and a correct level of promotion. Like, knowing what your brand needs at the stage it's at, I think, is the difference. Like, obviously, as somebody in my shoes at 23, like, I'm not going to promote my stuff incessantly because my stuff isn't that good yet. Like, it's not a finished product of what it's going to be later on in my career with a bigger platform, hopefully one day. Like, I feel like that's the difference. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of an abstract thing. I should give you more specifics, but you know it when you see it. It's self-awareness is the difference.
I wonder if the days of like, be careful what you tweet or what you put out on the internet are gone, because that used to be a thing they used to tell us all the time. Like, careful what you tweet. Don't be tweeting cuss words and whatnot. At this point, with the way the internet has gotten, I don't know if that's still valid. If you can get fired for like going at somebody on Twitter like 10 years from now, you can certainly get fired for other things
right.
that we have seen. But
Islamophobia, probably.
Yeah, yes, that's
up there.
Yeah, that's one of them. But I don't know if you can get fired for like dropping F-bombs on Twitter anymore. I don't know if that's the landscape we're in.
I did my first
report back to you. I will test out that theory and I will report back.
Yes, please do.
I did my first SEC Network broadcast in 2019 and immediately searched like Vandy and Florida in my Twitter from when I was in like 8th grade, and like deleted anything bad I could. Cause that was right after like the Josh Hader stuff. Like, during the All-Star game, people realized that this guy like had some very bad things to say earlier on in his life as like a high schooler on Twitter. And I was like, nah, what do we say to the god of Twitter trolls? Not today.
We've all played that game, I think.
I every once in a while I like to mix it up. Every once in a while I want to live that way.
You just gotta pick the right battles. That's like the point now. Like, I used to just go at everyone just guns a-blazing and would fight losing battles, or just battles that I just, didn't have enough info to like actually make a legitimate point. Now, if I'm going at someone on Twitter, it's because I know I'm going to win and I know I'm right.
You do go at opposing fans a good bit on Twitter, I will say.
It depends. I don't know. Like, it's not like my conversation with Vandy fans last week was not out of a place of I went to UT and am looking down on Vanderbilt. It was out of a place of legitimate surprise that a program that good is concerned with Tennessee as much as they are. Like, and I actually agreed with one of those big Vandy Twitter accounts, not Vandy OC. At the end of it was like, yeah, you're right. Like, these fans that are more anti-UT than they are pro-Vandy annoy me too. And I was like, yeah, that's all I'm saying. Because you're a powerhouse program and you should expect better. Be better. That's the goal of Twitter trolling and of this podcast. Just be better.
No, being better is wildly overrated, largely like sportsmanship. Who's the least self-aware person at 104.5 The Zone? Because, of course, we all now work here. Now, this is an A to Z sports platform, but people like the inside baseball. They like the crosstalk. Who is the least self-aware person at 104.5 The Zone? Will Boling, you start.
Oh, gosh.
All right, Lucas, you hesitated. Lucas, you start.
The least self-aware person at 104.5 The Zone. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Oh, my God. Both of you.
All right.
Well, who do you think it is?
Dawn Davenport. 100% Dawn Davenport.
You think it's Dawn?
Why is it Dawn?
No, because Dawn is nobody has been willing to push back on Dawn's opinions for as long as Dawn has been there. And finally, there is somebody who's willing to brave that fight. And then all of a sudden, Dawn is exposed for how lacking in self-awareness she is. I am here to shoulder that burden. She went at me today via text during the radio show. Dawn Davenport is the least self-aware person at The Zone.
I was going to spin it into like kind of a good thing too, that I would say Brent, because that dude does not care what is going on around him. He's just there to be him. Like that dude is not like aware of like what this guy's trying to troll. And, you know, this dude trying to like start, you know, talking shit to him on his show or on his Twitter. Like that dude is like on his mindset of he's done this longer than any of us have in the 104.5 The Zone building. So Brent's just going to do Brent regardless of his awareness or lack thereof of what people are trying to get in his head by saying during the show.
Can I say me because I mispronounced my own last name during a top of the hour update?
That shit was really bad.
What?
That was that was but that's, you know, we need more of that. I need you. I can't with the hacky professional broadcaster voice.
Today I said the Jazz were playing the Sixers and the Hawks were playing the Sixers. So few people know that the Sixers are actually playing in both the Eastern and Western Conference this year.
Well, see, now you've botched this as well, because I said lack of self-awareness. I didn't say bad at your job. That's a totally different conversation.
All right, well, but saying your last name wrong is quite literally lack of self-awareness.
You know, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I did not know that happened.
Oh,
that's incredible.
The rest of the listening audience soon found out that was indeed the case. Lucas Panzica and Will Boling, both of The Zone, both of the UT podcast, the Nashville Soccer Show. Boling doing the Daily Zone podcast every morning in your podcast feed at 5 a.m. Lucas is stuck with me for 3 hours a day and apparently 36 minutes more. But I appreciate both of your insights and expertise and your clout chasing. Go forth and do good works.
Thank you for your self-awareness. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm going to go watch Argentina play Colombia.
Oh, okay, bud. I'll talk to you
tomorrow.
Chile.
Argentina, Chile.
Damn it.
Yeah. You
the 76ers of South America.
You stink.